I just want to start this video off by saying that everything I list in this video is not everything there is to say. This is just a small list of things that I came up with off the spot that are going to help someone break down the barriers that are placed upon their soul to help them ascend to a higher level of understanding. So let's dig right into the topics. First one is religion. Now basically, you have to understand that everything I say in this is going to be something that was placed on you or you think is the true you, but you have to realize that these things are not the true you. So with religion, let's break it down here. Most people that are in a religion were put into a religion since birth. They never had a chance to pick a religion. They never had a chance to explore. They grew up in the church. They grew up in the mosque. They grew up in all these different religions. Okay, so breaking this down, you only believe the things that you believe because it was placed into your mind, basically programmed into your mind to believe this way. You didn't pick these things, you were given these things. You understand? Right. And so when your soul came into this world, you didn't come out the womb knowing what a Bible was, or knowing who Jesus was, or who Krishna was. You came into this realm of reality as a soul and a being of light. Understand that and get that written down. You came into this world as you, and nothing more, nothing less. Now, when you came into this plane of existence, your parents gave you a name. Keep in mind, though, that name is still not who you are. You was here before that name was here. You understand? You were a soul before that name was given to you. So putting that name on you told you who you were, but that's not really who you are. They casted that spell upon you. So now you grow up thinking, I'm this, I'm Joe, I'm Jack, and that's not you. You got to understand that. You are the person beneath the flesh. You are the soul in the eyes. You are the soul. You understand? You're not your name. So you got to break that down too and really dig deep into that. You got to know who your straw man is. You got to know that name in all capital letters and what that is. All right? Now the race that you are. A lot of people are not going to like what I got to say, but it's just the facts. So yes, I may be black. I may look black, but I'm not black. You understand? Me, the real me, I am not this. I am within this, like I said before. So when you came here and you manifested to come into this plane of existence in this vibrational frequency, your soul chose to come through this body. Your soul chose to have this experience in this lifetime. You know, people having all these race wars and people are racist, and they're just lacking understanding of what we all are. If we all can get past this color thing and understand that we all have similarities within, then I mean we can exceed. We can go further. We can be successful on this plane of existence. But race is one of the big barriers that people need to get broken down because it's holding a lot of us back. So it's a sad thing, you know. And you can connect with all types of races all over the world and find something similar between you two. You know? To even call myself black is a lie. You know, my hair is black, my skin is brown, but black means the absence of light. So taking on that title or that label of black will be dimming who I really am. You know, I'm casting that spell upon myself, saying that I'm black. You know what I'm saying? No, I like to say that I'm a light being. No, this shell again is not me. Just had to get that out there. Now let's get into the topic of politics. Where shall I start? Republican or Democrat? I choose neither. I choose myself. And I'm gonna tell you why. The political system uses the basic divide and conquer method to get control over the masses. The elite get control over the masses, you know, using us like pawns, you know what I'm saying, in a game of chess. And this divide and conquer method really is used in every category that I might bring up today. Um, if you think that you're separate from everyone else, then there will always be a war. There will always be a conflict of who's better, which has to be broken down. Your ego has to be broken down to see that you're not better. But back to the politics anyway. Yes, so divide and conquer method. You're not this Democratic or this Republican. This is what you think you are. Once again, you're calling yourself these things, but in actuality, they're just making you think you're this thing to keep you divided from everyone else. And at the end of the day, the presidents and all that are probably chosen. You got to understand, they're probably chosen before we even think our election is getting them into the office. You know, it's just a game put in front of your eyes on CNN and stuff like that. You know, you got to wake up. You know, you can't be thinking, oh, my vote mattered. Because really, at the end of the day, whatever they wanted to do to us, they're going to do it anyway. So, wake up, people. Now let's jump into class and classifications when it comes to finances, I'd say. Okay, you got to really understand one thing. Most of our money is in the bank, right? Or our bank accounts. When you go to the bank, your money is not in your hand unless you take it there. But your money is in a computer system as a set of numbers. So you basically think you have this money, but you really don't have this money unless you get it out of the bank. But even if you do have the money, let's break it down further. This money is just pieces of paper that can possibly die out one day, and then what you gonna do? You know, people out here chasing paper, you know, and I understand you gotta, you know, get this to live on this plane right now. But you gotta understand that there are poor people who have the richest hearts, and there are rich people who have the poorest hearts. You can be earthly rich, but if you're, you know, poor on other dimensions, then you ain't really got nothing. Cause when you die, what you gonna do? You ain't got nothing. The money not there. You gotta get out of this thinking that, oh, you the shit cause you got this money. But really, in actuality, when you die, it's not gonna be, you can't take it with you. You gotta break down the barriers, man. It's like, money might officially die out, you know? And what you gonna do then? What you really need to be getting is some gold. You need to be getting some gold. But other than that, you need to make your soul gold. You have to have a golden soul. Because once you figure that part out and your soul becomes golden, none of these things are going to really matter anymore. And I know it's hard to break this barrier because that's all the matrix we live in is about. You look outside, you look at everything costs some money. Everything has a price tag on it. But my soul is infinite. My soul has no price tag. So figure that one out, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna jump right into relationships and families. Now when you come into this plane, your soul is yours and half of the creator's, right? You coexist with the creator because you are God and God is everything. So when you come into this plane of existence, when your parents bring you in, your mother is the spaceship in which you entered, in which your soul entered. They feel as though they have ownership over you. But what you must realize is that family is a frequency thing. It's a soul frequency thing, like I stated before. Your family is the people that you connect with on deep levels. Biologically, yeah, that may be family, but that's not your real family. And this might hurt a lot of people. But let's go into relationships. When it comes to relationships, there's no sign over y'all's heads that this is my boyfriend and this is my girlfriend. Like, there's no Y'all are just two individuals. You have to understand that all you have in this life is yourself. Factuality. All you have in this life is yourself. It's an illusion that y'all are together. Now, when people get married, it's still an illusion. And that's why when they have kids, like I was saying about family, it's just everyone's their own self. It's really hard to break this one down sometimes. But everyone's their own self. So when you get into a relationship or married, or let's say married, people don't, people really, really strive and they just want that certificate to say we're together. But once again, like, y'all was already together in a sense before the certificate, even though y'all really was still two individual strangers that came together and then decided to get some legal documentations. And I mean, you just gotta know, like, this is not you only have you. To be married is an illusion. To be in a relationship is an illusion. You may have relations with people, but no one is truly yours. Like, if I had a kid, that kid would not be mine. That kid would be belong to the all. That kid would be raised by me, but in actuality, the kid was just brought here through me. You understand? Through me and the spouse or the woman of choice. I think one of the hardest barriers probably for people to break down would be the illusion of time. Time is an illusion. Let me repeat that. Time is an illusion. Yes, we've mapped out time with numbers. Yes, we've mapped out days, weeks, months, years. But time is an illusion. I think it was Constantine, that said, the past no longer exists, and the future has yet to exist, and the present takes up no time at all. So how can time exist? And when you break that down, it only makes sense. It only makes sense. Think of this, okay? Let's switch over to September, October, November, December. The prefixes mean 7, 8, 9, 10, which would mean that the 10th month would be December. We added January and February. For some reason, I don't know what the fuck happened. People started fucking with time. But 365 days. It sounds like a weird, odd number, right? Now, I researched some time ago that they used to mark it as 360 days, which would make complete sense because you have 360 degrees in a circle. And the sun, goes around the plane in a circle. So we mark time, and time has been shifted and fucked with so many times that it is no longer accurate no more, really. We got leap years and shit, 29 days, 28 days in February. We got time zones. It's a time right now here, but somewhere out west or somewhere out east is a whole nother time. And I know, that makes sense due to the sun giving us our measurement of time. The sun is basically giving us lots of mathematics. The sun's very important. But yeah, like, when you break it down, when you really start to think about these things, it's really an illusion. People have been messing with time. I heard not too long ago that the increment of a second was changed in some year in the 18th century. I forgot. Not 18th century, 1800s. Like, they've been messing with time for so long, and it's like, what the fuck, It's just like, it's tangible. It basically can be tampered with, almost, in a sense. So once again, you got to really think about these things that you're living by the clock. These things that you're using in your everyday life and breaking them down. Now, I know people are going to want to argue down this topic of time, because we do know that through seasonal changes, through through adaptations of the seasons, we see that time has taken place. You know what I mean? Um, but once again, these we can see that the seasons are getting off. It's getting cold at the wrong times, getting hot at the wrong times, and through this offness, we can see that our age, if this is making sense, I don't know if you get this right now, but we can see that. I like to say that if people ask me my age, I'll say I'm so and so many Earth years, because I'm only marking my age based off of the time I was given to mark it by. I like to say that my soul is really timeless, really, like putting that number, that increment on my existence is limiting me once again, because I don't really know how long my actual self beyond the flesh has been here for. I don't really know, I just say it's timeless because I could feel 157, or I could feel 7 one day. You can feel wise as the oldest man on the planet and young at the same time, whatever that really means. But just had to throw that out there. I don't know if you got it or not, but yeah. We can basically say that it exists and it don't exist at the same time. Even the language I'm speaking is a barrier that can be broken. It's a hard barrier because once again, since elementary school, you've been programmed to think about these symbols as letters, which are just symbols. Because there's many languages on the planet, but these symbols are telling us how to speak, and these words we put the letters together to make is our language in which we communicate with. But once again, the English language does no justice for describing what things are, because we're just placing titles on objects or animals or insects, but these animals or insects are just what they are. A dog doesn't know it's a dog. A dog just knows it's it. And a dog knows that it is what it is. We called it that. We tried to label everything in this existence, but the creator made these things, but we titled these things. You know what I'm saying? It's real tricky out here, it's real tricky. It's real tricky. Now, if we want to bring ego into the topic, ego is in relation to all the topics that I brought up. So when it comes to religion, ego is involved. When it comes to race, ego is involved. When it comes to politics, class, relationships, all of that, right? And back on religion, I've seen many Christians think they were on top, and it's funny because you could ask a Muslim the same thing and they would think they were on top. And what you got here is people in their egos thinking that they're going to heaven and everyone else going to hell, and everyone in these different religions are thinking that they're the best. You know what I'm saying? Race, of course. We have people thinking they're superior to others. That's their ego, once again. Democratic or Republican. That's their egos, once again, thinking their side is better. We got rich people thinking they're better than poor people because of some paper. And we got, the list goes on and on. But once again, once the ego is broken down, which is probably what might have happened through watching this video, when the ego gets broken down, one can finally ascend to a higher level of understanding of what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? And that breaking that barrier will help you have open thoughts and help you finally get a grasp of what's really going on out here. You got to open your eyes to see things through a bigger, you got to see the bigger picture. It's like looking through a telescope. You got to really see that these things that I've listed are really not who you are. Once you put all these things on top of you, that's when you limiting your growth. That's when you're limiting yourself. You stack this on yourself, and you can't stand up. I mean, it's that simple, you know? So I hope this, shed some light to some people. It's just my interpretation on the topics. It's just, I'm not saying you gotta believe anything or follow anything I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? But just take a thought about what I've said. Take a chance to think about what I've said. So, yeah, that's it for today. Like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff. And until next time, peace and love.